genre.
Welcome back to the Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Around, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Scott Corelli.
I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
And I'm Nick Jimenez.
And today on the show, we will be discussing Inferno, the third Doctor's fourth story. This is, of course, a story written by Don Houghton. I don't know.
Probably Houghton.
And
it's probably Houghton.
Houghton? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And directed by Douglas Camfield and uncreditedly directed by Barry Letts for episodes 3 through 7. Mm-hmm. So as far as background for this particular episode, they sort of they had this idea of doing an episode where they were like boring to the center of the earth, and it was going to be called Operation Mole Bore.
What?
Which is just a terrible name. And then it was going to be just called the Mole Bore. And that was like, it was just going to be the bits about boring to the center of the earth and how dangerous that is. And that was it. That's it. That was going to be the whole thing. And then, basically it was suggested to the writer that, he had some sort of monster. And so that's when he came up with the Primords, which he envisioned as ape creatures because they're, primitive humans.
Oops.
Yeah. And so begins the drama with Douglas, with Douglas Camfield. Douglas Camfield, who directed The Invasion, which is a really great story. He was given Inferno, and he basically didn't listen to anyone and did his own thing. And John Pertwee and Nicholas Courtney hated him, and basically went behind his back and just did whatever they wanted, to the point where there's a scene in episode 2 where Liz Shaw's, alternate universe, Liz Shaw is supposed to be, asking the Doctor all of these questions about where he came from and everything. And at the last minute, Nicholas Courtney was like, I'm going to do it. And just took the scene away from her.
Jesus.
Yeah, just took the scene away from Caroline John and just did the scene himself. And and Douglas Camfield was like, I don't know what to do. And at a certain point, apparently he just ran away from set and just cowered in a corner in his office. And started having like a mental breakdown. And his wife, he called his wife, and his wife came to set and found him and came out and went to Barry Letts and was like, they basically bullied him into a mental breakdown. And, I don't think he can direct the rest of this. And then that's when Barry Letts was like, okay, well, I guess I am. And he basically, because he was the producer as well, he got the respect that Douglas Camfield should have been getting from Pertwee and Nicholas Courtney. They actually listened to him, and that's how we got the rest of the episodes finished. But yeah, John Pertwee and Nicholas Courtney basically just they just treated Douglas Camfield like a substitute teacher, and were just like horrific bullies until he had a nervous breakdown and quit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like a
it's
fraternity hazing.
Yeah.
Weird. Talking about an Inferno.
Yeah. So I mean that's basically that's basically it. And then of course it was Douglas Camfield who came up with the idea of making the Primords werewolves instead of apes, which Don Houghton was not a fan of.
Sure. Is there any? I mean, I'm sure it's been lost to history, but is there any record left of why he decided to make the choice to move from ape to werewolf?
No, it just says that it was his decision. That's all it says.
Well, maybe it's better that way.
Yeah,
Who are we to
don't
tool
know.
within the minds of men?
And then the last bit, which is interesting, because we all know who this person is now, Nick. Sheila, or Sheila Dunn, who was Camfield's. Oh, that is Camfield's wife, right? Okay, so
you've left him with
yeah,
nothing.
well. Right, Sheila Dunn played Petra Williams in this, the blonde lady who falls for the blue collar drill worker, whatever.
The only person in the story that has to be convinced that their boss is a sociopath.
Yeah, right. And she was only cast as Petra after the original actress who they offered the role to was unavailable, and that was Hammer horror actress Kate O'Mara.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so the Ronnie almost played that role, and if she had played that role, maybe she wouldn't have played the Ronnie, and we would have gotten a different Ronnie. So it all worked out? Question mark. I don't know that anyone could have saved the Ronnie, because it was still she was still always written by Pip and John Baker. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was almost Kate O'Mara in her prime, because she was like at the top of her game as a Hammer horror actress at the time.
Nice.
In the early 70s. So yeah, this would have been pre-Dallas, and the Ronnie is post-Dallas.
Man, young Peter Jackson would have lost his mind seeing a Hammer horror picture person show up in Doctor Who.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. I'm sure he did when he went and saw Doctor Who and the Daleks in theaters.
Oh wow! What a cinematic adventure this is for old Peter J.
Remember when they like randomly started that rumor that he was going to direct an episode and it just never ever happened?
Yes, I'm still upset about
Yeah,
that.
a weird video he made with his daughter.
Yeah,
that was like
what was that?
That was 2 years ago.
What
Not
was
even
that?
like
So weird.
Yeah, it's weird that we just stopped talking to him about it either, or like, hey, why did you make that video? I bet if someone asked him, they would be the first person to ask him about it.
Yeah.
Like, why did you make that video? I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not sure. Still trying to make Dan justice.
You do a pretty good Kiwi accent. It's not bad.
Trying.
It's not
There's like
bad.
shades of Australian.
It's
in there.
yeah.
Well,
It's
there's always shades of Australian in a Kiwi accent. They're
Oh.
they're literally in the shade of Australia.
Oh, the whole island of, or the two islands of New Zealand are gonna fight you.
Well, then they should have a different accent. Also, change all of history. All right. Anyway,
maybe that weird. Doesn't New Zealand have that island that's like underwater that like it is completely like it's actually no, that's not New Zealand. There's a country that's like an island that's significantly bigger, but it's just that most of it is underwater.
oh yeah, I forget what that is.
Listeners, if we have any like geography buffs, let us know. Or if we have any
all right.
Zealand listeners.
If we
curious
did,
if
we
we have-
don't anymore.
Our subscriber count goes down by like 2.
Oh,
Oh, there they go.
I've seen our world numbers. I think that's about accurate.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Inferno Part 1.
Inferno Part 1. Written by Don Houghton. Directed by Douglas Camfield. Produced by Barry Letts. Air date May 9th, 1970. The Doctor drives his yellow roadster Bessie onto a restricted base. This is the location of a drilling operation nicknamed the Inferno, the pet project of Professor Stallman. A pipe is leaking green goo, and a maintenance man is told to fix it by Sir Keith, one of the government sponsors. Professor Stallman is upset that he was not consulted and keeps the pipe operating in order to keep to schedule. The maintenance man touches some of the goo on accident, and his hand starts to turn green, and he eventually transforms, killing another one of the workers with a wrench. The Brigadier sets up a makeshift office in the complex with the help of Benton. Unit is on the lookout for the murderous maintenance man, and the Brig explains the situation to the Doctor. He heads off to a little garage where the TARDIS console is parked inside. The Doctor is trying to get the console to work again with the help of Liz. In the meantime, the maintenance man kills again, this time a unit soldier. He sets the nuclear reactor on the base to overload. Because of the surge in power, the TARDIS console dematerializes with the Doctor, and he is transported to some sort of limbo space, but returns shortly. He and Liz head into the drill headquarters, which has also been affected by the surge in power. The professor still doesn't want to cut the power, so the team work to find a solution as the Brig discovers there's been another murder. He and the Doctor investigate as the maintenance worker turned Wolfman growls behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the beginning of this. It seems like it would be very, I mean, it's just the Doctor driving Bessie into work, but something about the Doctor driving to work in the morning, I don't know. To me, it just kind of brought home this era of the show. It was like, oh right, it's this version where like he tried to have a job in like an office for a little bit.
Well, and I just love that he's like he's just what do you call that when you do that? It's like advanced humming.
Oh yeah,
Advanced humming.
I mean, I don't know.
I know, and I know
that
what you mean.
otherwise.
It's not. It's like you're phonetically singing. You're just making you're singing the noises. You're not singing the words.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like it. Well, it is opera, so I guess you can't really sing it. Well, I guess you could just know the words. Like, but they're in Italian. I think that opera's in Italian.
Well, I think if anyone knows how to fluently speak Italian, it'd probably be John Pertwee, right?
That's very true.
I mean, look at him.
Yeah, I'm into this though. Like he's waving to unit guys as he's going to work, and they're like, "Hello, doctor." Like I don't know. I don't think we ever see like a 9 to 5 doctor again. So it's a cool thing to watch,
right?
Besides like when he gets a job like at a mall or whatever, and
right,
the Matsuma era.
Well, and the other thing that I just really like about the structure of Inferno is that it really just goes. I mean, It's so interesting because it's kind of a slow build, but they don't waste time to get to our first radioactive werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he shows up right away, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's the monster for this story." Wow.
Yeah,
we don't because like
we know
typically.
nothing. Oh no, I was gonna say like we know nothing about the doctor, what he's up to before the adventure starts. He's literally just going to work.
Right. I mean, typically we don't get our first look at the baddie for an episode until the end of part 1. Like that's usually the part 1 cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no, look at that thing.
Dun dun.
Yeah. And this one is literally just like, I mean, it's practically like the radioactive werewolf was just like watching him go into work. I mean, it was that early.
Hello.
Hello, doctor.
What the hell?
So I don't know. Do any of you guys? Do either of you or have either of you watched Tim and Eric?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit.
Okay, so this professor guy in this reminds me of Eric from Tim and Eric in disguise.
Yes, Stallman, Professor Stallman.
Yes, yeah, with his like
great, yeah,
his little blonde mustache and his glasses, and he's just like really tall and yeah, he looks like Eric.
Yeah. I like these unit guys. I mean, they get their clocks cleaned in this one, but I don't know. I have a soft spot for like working class, like science fiction characters, like those. I'm listening to the Star Wars book now, where they're going into vivid detail about what like Chut's job working in the Death Star was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like we have cantinas and like gyms and like
Health benefits.
Yeah, health benefits, and it's great. We love it here. I hope I work, and then but yeah, like I don't know, just these dudes are just victims of their job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This episode really endeared me to Unit a lot, I think.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I just the whole world of like Unit is really interesting here. I mean, it's really what they I think play with the most.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of this whole episode is really just the Doctor grinding up and fighting against the just the monotony of bureaucracy and no one listening to him.
Yeah. And I love that we spend, I swear it's like a full 5 minutes of screen time of just the Doctor looking for the Brigadier in a photo of Army graduates.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He's like, he's looking through these old photos of like Army youths, and the Brigadier's like, can you spot me, Doctor? Like, kind of like, I bet you can't. Like, they're already flirting. It's like 8:55.
And then he can't find him, and he's like, it's a trick question. You're not in this photo. And he's like, 3 from the right. And then he finds him, and he just starts laughing at him.
Yeah.
And then puts the photo down and changes the subject. Like it's
he says you look far better with a mustache.
Yeah, and I love that they set up the whole mustache thing like from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, especially considering his mustache doesn't look great in the later episodes because it's fake. Because it had to be, because he had to shave it for the other thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
unless he wanted to go like full Cesar Romero in the Inferno universe.
which having just watched Batman the movie on Netflix, HD technology has not been kind to that decision.
Oh, I mean it was never kind to that decision.
Was it always super obvious?
Oh yes, yeah. Like if you read the Batman 66 comics, they draw the Joker with a mustache covered in makeup. I mean,
it actually is kind of a brilliant decision. I mean, brilliant as far as that show is concerned. The idea that in real life the Joker is like an old Hispanic uncle with like a mustache. It's kind of the last person you'd like look for.
True. Very true. So Professor Eric is showing the oil rig guy.
Professor Eric. Do you mean Sir Keith?
What's that?
The bureaucrat guy?
Like the one that's like visiting from off site? The one that's
Like,
like, I think there's something wrong with this. And,
there's the crazy professor guy.
yeah,
and then there's like
Slocum.
And then there's the guy has ties to the ministry.
I think that's Sir Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the nice guy, not the bad guy.
Yeah, Sir Keith.
The nice guy is Sir Keith.
Yeah, Sir Keith. Yeah, well, you guys are the ones naming him. I'm calling him Professor Eric.
Yeah, but that's confusing to us.
Okay, well,
he's not a professor, Scott.
But why? He looks like Eric from Tim and Eric.
I know, but I saw this a week ago.
All right. So anyway, he's showing around this oil rigger guy. And it's cute that you guys think I can remember any of the names of any characters other than the Doctor and his companions in these stories.
Well, that's why I have my notes open.
My notes.
Yeah, I don't know. I never remember their names.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick because Sir Keith is endearing to me because he looked really familiar. So Norman and I looked him up, and he's also in another Doctor Who story, and he plays you remember Jago and Lightfoot from Talons of Wing Chiang?
Oh, boy, do I.
He's Jago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. Huh. That's weird. It didn't mention that in this.
Zing!
In these behind-the-scenes stuff. That's weird.
Well, it looks like someone else should be writing those behind-the-scene notes.
Apparently. So anyway, so Sir Keith is showing around the oil rigger guy, and at one point he describes what it is they're doing there, and quotes a guy who names like the gas after himself.
Sure.
That they're trying to get to. And he literally, he says, and I quote, and says a quote. And I'm just like, this guy is the biggest nerd I've ever, like, who does that in reality? Like, who quotes someone, and I quote, like that? And like, just so earnestly, like he's speaking a research paper out loud. It's amazing. I was like, who is this guy? Good Lord.
It's kind of you almost can't blame Stolman for like completely writing this dude off.
Uh-huh. Speaking of beard face, he shows up and he is, look, in every one of these Jon Pertwee stories, and really in every Doctor Who story, pretty much ever, there's always one guy who hates the Doctor for no reason.
Yeah, just doesn't like the cut of his jib.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he's always like, the Doctor always has a J. Jonah Jameson, and that's Beardface in this particular instance. And he just hates the Doctor. He doesn't know why he's here. He doesn't like that people respect him more than they respect him. And it just he just hates everything. He hates not getting his way. He's a really unlikable dude because he's a bad guy, and he'll get his just desserts twice, which is the benefit of having alternate universes.
Yeah, what I really like about Slocum or Slocum, however you pronounced it, was this dude is so aggro about everything, and it's just like, no, it has to be finished now. There'll be no delays. And like, I immediately am like, oh, cool. He's like an alien lizard, and like when Inferno gets to the bottom of the thing, it's like his people will be free, and that's why he's so. But like everything about his initial, the way that he is completely human. There's no motivation given about why he's the way that he is, and I kind of like that. I like that he's just impossibly stubborn, like, bureaucrat.
I would love it if we just follow him back to his office, and then he just pulls out a desk drawer and pulls out plane tickets and a brochure to Hawaii, and he's just like, soon.
Someday.
And that's why he wants to finish it so quickly.
Or it's like
That
It's
would
like
make me feel bad for him, though. And
he looks down at his desk calendar, and it's like Tim's game can't miss 7 p.m.
Inferno just ends with a little league game and a kid just being like, "Where's Dad?"
Oh no!
You see a smoke plume coming from unit.
Just in the background of the baseball game.
Oh my god!
Oh no! Slocum, you're out. Your mother's here. Said your dad turned into a wolf.
Timmy,
Come here.
So anyway,
So yeah, he just basically tells Sir Keith to like take a long walk off a short cliff.
and then the doctor goes back to his garage, and he has like a little lab in a garage, and he uses his sonic screwdriver as a garage door opener. And I love that the guy he's driving with, he's just like, "Where do you get all them funny gadgets, Doctor?" And the doctor's just like,
Like, shut
"Funny
up."
gadgets? This is a garage door opener." And I was like, "No, it's not." What?
You know,
I mean,
not.
it's working that way now, but that's not all it
Yeah.
does. Yeah, he's basically trying to get the console to work, the TARDIS console, which he's rebuilding.
Yeah, he is antsy today.
Yeah, he's ready to get out of there, you know?
Yeah, he's like, this isn't my scene.
Yeah. And he like is like he basically like overloads the TARDIS with power, which I think the suggestion is that he creates the Inferno universe then when that happens.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It seems like that's what the suggestion is, because otherwise I don't know what happened. Like he just sort of goes into the space between and like has like I just like goes and finds himself in the space between. Like I don't.
A quality face montage.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
my favorite part of this episode.
A++ for sure. But then he comes back and Liz is just like, "What happened?" And he was just like, "I was lost and I couldn't make it to the other side." And, oh my God. He's all very dramatic. And then a werewolf guy shows up again.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, I'm a werewolf." And that's it. Which is, I don't know.
It's great.
I like how this first season of Pertwee's era is structured, because it is only 4 stories, but I think more than stories in other Doctor's eras, and even in Pertwee's era later on, by the time you get to like, especially like season 3, season 4, I think that this season feels like a season of television with like little mini sort of arcs going in it, but it doesn't, they don't feel the same way as like the serials do later on. Like it doesn't feel like a serial. It just feels like, yeah, we're like living in this world and the Doctor's going to work, and you know, it feels a little different than I think other Doctor Who stories do. This
Definitely.
season,
Yeah.
the way it's structured and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I like that this episode is just like, yeah, so we're digging a hole. Look at all these unit people. The Doctor almost killed himself, and we're moving on.
Don't dig that hole.
Yeah. Don't dig that hole.
That's what he keeps. Then they just won't listen to him, and he hates it. That must be hell for the Doctor. Just him wandering around telling people stuff, and they're just not taking him seriously.
Yeah, well, that's what part 1 is basically, right? He's just like, I don't think we should be doing that. He's like, I'll do what I want. He's just like, all right, I'm leaving. I can't. This is dumb. I'm out of here. So, I mean, that's how you would sum up episode 1.
Yeah. No one listens to the Doctor. I like it though. It's kind of it's a nice break from like the Matt Smith era where everyone thinks he's like a deity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Inferno Part 2. Written by Don Houghton. Directed by Douglas Camfield. Produced by Barry Letts. Air date May 16th, 1970. The doctor stops Unit from attacking and tries to reason with the wolf creature. The phone rings. It's the professor trying to get in contact with the nuclear reactor station where the doctor is. A Unit soldier shoots at the creature, and after a brief tussle with the soldier, it slumps against the wall, leaving scorch marks. The doctor resets the switch and answers the phone, saying that everything is sorted out. The Unit soldier and another scientist who was in the room with the creature seem to be fine, but soon start undergoing the same transformation. The doctor and the brigadier discuss what a possible cause might be, and the doctor mentions the 1883 eruption of the volcano Krakatoa, leaving the brigadier puzzled. Professor Stallman still doesn't want to stop the drilling. They are trying to penetrate the Earth's crust in order to tap into powerful gases trapped there as a new energy source. The doctor and the professor are at odds, and after an argument about the mysterious green goo from before, the professor tells the doctor to leave and shuts off all power to the garage where the TARDIS console is. The doctor switches it back on before heading out of the control room. In his office, the professor discovers that his hand is also turning green from exposure to the goo. The doctor sends Liz out of the garage to run some tests for him on the main computer. When she gets there, the brigadier informs her that the computer is not working. Realizing it was a trick, the pair rush back to the doctor's garage just in time to see the TARDIS console dematerializing with the doctor and Bessie.
So I think my favorite part of part 2 is when the doctor can't pull that switch thing and the brigadier is like holding a gun and the doctor's like trying to take the gun away and brigadier's like, what? No, you can't have my gun. And he just yanks it out of his hand and then uses the gun to pull the switch.
It's great. It's a really, I think this was the story that finally sold, not that I wasn't sold before, but I was like, oh, this is the brigadier that everyone's like always like, this is the brigadier that everyone fell in love with.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is when their chemistry together really hit home for me personally, where I was like, oh, I get it now. This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I love the idea of, like the doctor doesn't use guns. Unless he needs to use it to flip a switch. I just love that.
Yeah, it's great. So Petra is a character that I don't think she's kind of like the right hand lady of Slocum.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I had a lot of sympathy for her. I thought she was dealt a rough hand, Petra. Mm-hmm. And I thought she I thought she was doing the best she could, just staying above water.
Yeah. I mean, I probably, I think the actress was probably deriving a lot of her acting based on the situation going on set.
Yes. Yeah. Just that kind of over it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I love that the character's name is Petra, and they're literally like, it's all about rocks and
drilling,
drilling Earth. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, it's not subtle.
No.
Yeah. She reminds me of these random female characters, especially in the Pertwee era, remind me a lot of the random female characters in old Marvel comics, where they're always just just all of them are assistants of some kind,
right?
Yeah, there's somebody's assistant. And to the point where this is Caroline. This is, I was going to say Caroline Ford. Wrong person. Caroline John's last story, because Barry Letts and everybody was just like, she's a little too capable. She's a little too good at her job. I don't know why she needs the doctor around. And yeah, let's replace her with a new companion that's a little more helpless.
Aww.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. to be honest, there are a lot of people in this episode in particular that I remember thinking like I wouldn't hate them being a new companion.
Mm-hmm.
Like Petra. I was like, Petra seems like she deserves like an upgrade in the box.
Petra would be cool. I mean, but I do love who we get next season. I do love
absolutely.
Joe. But Petra would have been kind of cool. And I love Liz Shaw.
I love Liz Shaw. Yeah.
It's just that they don't know how to write they wrote a capable woman, which look, props to them for at least doing that.
Yeah.
But once they did it, they were like, I don't know what to do with this.
All right, we did it. Now what?
Yeah, now what? Where does the easy writing happen? Oh, it doesn't? But road placer. I do like Liz Shaw though, in general. But in on a brighter side, now granted, she did get let go because they wanted to replace her. That I'm not changing that narrative. That is 100% what happened. However,
sure.
There is a very good chance she would have left the show anyway because she did get pregnant, like right at the end of Inferno. She found out she was pregnant. So there's a very good chance that she probably would have left the show anyway, not being able to keep up with the wacky scheduling of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
As a pregnant woman. So
sure.
Who knows? But in any event, it does seem that Caroline John is much happier having just done the one season. So there you go.
Has Ridley Scott ever on the record said that Noomi Rapace's character in Prometheus is named after Elizabeth Shaw?
Not on the record, but I mean, everyone basically assumes. I mean, considering Alien is basically like a loose remake of Ark in Space.
Yeah. And we know that Ridley Scott is like a Whovian, or at least was in youth.
Right. And then Liz Shaw in Prometheus, and it's just like, oh, okay. Or it could also be that Liz Shaw was named Liz Shaw by like Damon Lindelof, having known, like as like a cheeky reference, having known that the Ark in Space was a basis on Alien, and because that seems like something silly he would do also.
Yeah, I've never thought about Damon Lindelof watching Doctor Who, but now I'm really interested. I wish he was still on Twitter. So I could be like, hey, do you like Doctor Who, Star Trek Into Darkness? He's like, no, still.
I hate what you did to the end of Lost. Oh man,
stop it.
Why can't you guys let this go?
I made a whole show. It was really good.
From hashtag Prometheus, hashtag Tomorrowland. Oh man, no.
Cowboys and Aliens.
Cowboys and Aliens. Man, he really does not have a good track record, does he?
He's just
poor guy.
He's just, I don't know, man. Something happens when he switches mediums for some reason.
Yeah. Oh well. In any event, we get our first instance of Verusian karate paralyzation.
That was
so
awesome.
Good.
Oh man. Yeah, which apparently was Venusian was changed from Feltian was the original. It was gonna be
strange.
Yeah, it's gonna be Feltian, like Feltian alien. It was a type of alien karate, which just alien karate. That's what they should have called it. They should have just called it alien
karate brigadier.
I do like the idea though that he calls it Venusian, but I just think it's Vulcan karate. I mean that's
basically what it is.
Yeah, it's Vulcan karate. So he Vulcan chops a guy, and is told, hey, let him go. Like, he's literally telling them like, yeah, no, if I keep doing this, he's going to be paralyzed forever. And then he just continues to do it. Which is like, let him go then. What are you doing?
No.
Oh man. And he's just like watching him squirm. Like It was a dark moment for John Pertwee.
This is what happens when you shove him in a 9-to-5 office job.
I guess so. Oh man, dark. But yeah, and then this one ends with the Doctor escaping in the TARDIS console, and takes Bessie with him, which is interesting. I just like that they had him bring Bessie with him. I don't know. I love that. I feel like it was
car.
Yeah, I feel like it was a John Pertwee stipulation. I really do. Wait. You mean I can't have my car?
Right?
No.
I can't have my car for 4 episodes? No,
absolutely not. Did you watch the first episode? I advanced hummed in it all the way to the base.
I'm pretty sure that's his car, and he just wanted to drive it around anyway. And they're like, "All right, well, Doctor drives
so.
now."
Yeah. Anything else in part 2? I thought part 2 was like a little light as far as stuff happening.
Well, yeah. I mean, it just sort of carrying over stuff from part 1.
Yeah. It feels like, it really does feel like Inferno should be a 6-part story, and there's just a spare part here.
Yeah.
Because it feels like the idea of it is that there's a prologue and an epilogue in our universe, and then there's a 4-part story in the alternate universe. And so this part 2 just feels like an extra part that they just like, well, we need 7 episodes, so if you could stretch this out a little.
We'll have some Wolfman catwalk action. We'll have some random stuff. I do like the scene where the Doctor convinces Liz to leave his little garage so he can like peace out in the TARDIS, and then she realizes what he's doing and they show up. But I like the Doctor and Liz a lot, but I understand
they make
why.
a good team.
Yeah.
Too good a team.
Yeah,
apparently.
Almost too good.
Almost too good.
But then they have Romana later on, so I don't know. Whatever.
That's true. Well, but the great thing about Romana, right, is that like she I almost called her Romano, and I was like, no. No. Doctor!
Oh my God.
Oh
God.
But everybody loves me. Yeah, but the cool thing about Romana is that she was smarter than the Doctor, so like the Doctor was her companion.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so that was like a different dynamic. This one, I think it was hard to find a balance because she was human. But yeah, no, I think they make a really good team. It's just a little too good. They're too. They didn't know how to write the Doctor and companion relationship as like almost equals. Yeah, because the thing that's difficult about it, right, is that okay, she's really smart.
Sure.
But she's not as smart as the Doctor because she isn't capable of having the knowledge that he has because of, what he's done in his life.
Right.
So it's like, so she is really smart, but not that smart, but you don't want her to seem dumb, but also like there's just a lot of like, it would be difficult because I mean, look at what they did with Martha, right? Martha was really intelligent and they let her be clever and stuff, but they also were like, but she loves the Doctor and he doesn't love her back.
Yeah. It's like they have to give him a handicap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even there, a writer that we all really love and Russell T Davies and really respect his character work, even there, he had to find a way to give Martha a handicap. He couldn't just let her be an equal.
It kind of makes you really appreciate what they were finally able to do and what they didn't bail on doing with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, especially in that in that final season with Clara.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, respect to Stephen Moffat, he at least figured that out. And Big Finish obviously does that a lot.
Of course. Yeah.
Big Finish. I mean, their original companions were all like really great, and Ace, like they grew her a lot. And stuff like that.
Do you think it has anything to do with? Do you think it's mostly because Big Finish, as opposed to the writers on the show proper, maybe had like less pushback from like the BBC or any kind of like suits?
I don't think so, because I don't know how much control because BBC has like overall control, but it really does seem to me like once they hire a showrunner, they're just like, all right, and now it's your thing, and just give us cool stuff to market. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
Is what it seems like to me anyway. I don't know.
No, definitely.
Maybe our British listeners have a different perspective on that. I don't know. Please,
yeah, join in the conversation.
Speaking of which, if you guys aren't on the Facebook group, you should do that. If you're listening to this and you're not on the Doctor's Companion listener group, you should go get on that on Facebook. Do that.
Yeah. Inferno Part 3. Written by Don Houghton. Directed by Douglas Camfield and Barry Letts. Produced by Barry Letts. Air date May 23rd, 1970. Liz tries to bring the Doctor back, but the power has been shut off again. He is trapped. The Doctor wakes up from his rough departure. He seems to be in the same place, but some minor details have been altered. He forces the garage doors open and drives Bessie out onto the base, but is soon shot at by soldiers. He parks Bessie and hides, but is soon attacked by one of the wolf creatures. His attempts to defend himself draw the attention of the soldiers, but he manages to get away. Soon he encounters Liz, but she has a different hairstyle. He questions her about it, but she seems not to recognize him and whistles for help. The Doctor is taken prisoner and brought to the Brigadier's office, but instead of his usual mustache, the Brig is clean-shaven and wearing an eye patch. He questions the Doctor about how he got onto the base and how he seems to know so much about the project. Is he a spy? The Doctor tries to explain that he is from a parallel universe, but no one understands. He asks to see Professor Stallman, and he is taken into the control room. Once there, he notices that the drilling operation is much further along than the universe he just left. His arrival and knowledge of the proceedings agitates Professor Stallman, and the Doctor is taken away for more questioning by the Brigadier and Liz. He tries to tell them the truth, but they don't believe him. An alarm goes off, and the Brig and Liz run out of the room to see what's going on. The Doctor disables the guard with Venusian karate and runs after them. In the chaos, he tries to fix the broken computer, but is caught by Benton, who threateningly holds a gun to the Doctor's head.
So in episode 3, I really love how. So I don't know what the Doctor's plan was when he left with Bessie, other than just to peace out. But he leaves, and like immediately upon entering the alternate reality, it is just immediately overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Where he's just like, oh God, they're shooting at me, and there's the werewolves and the firing guns and the God, why? What is happening? Like, I really love how immediately overwhelming it is. Like as soon as he shows up, I think it's a really cool way of introducing it. Like they don't introduce it slowly. He just jumps in the deep end, and I really like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. It just kind of it just puts some pepper in the tank, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like let's pick it up a little bit.
Yeah. Love evil Liz. Love Brigadier leader.
Yeah. I mean, we could. I'm surprised you just brought it up like that. I thought you would have like a preamble for Evil Brig.
I mean, Brigadier Leader is, it's incredible that, I mean, this episode is, obviously, I can only imagine it's somewhat inspired by Mirror Mirror,
Sure.
Star Trek original series episode. But it's just Evil Liz and Brigadier Leader Lethbridge Stewart it's just, oh man, they're just so good because they're not a team at all. Like they just hate each other.
Yeah.
And are constantly putting each other in each other's place. Like it's just so, like, the bizarre world that they put together for this alternate universe is just so good. And I don't know what kickstarted this alternate universe, but it does seem like, for some reason, I remembered, and then I realized that, like, oh no, that was a different alternate universe Doctor Who story. But for some reason, I always remembered the Doctor being there but being dead.
Oh, weird.
But that's a different alternate universe Doctor Who story. That's Turn Left, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for some reason, like in the third episode, when they throw him in, is that the third episode or the fourth episode? When they throw him in the brig. Yeah, into the brig.
I think it's episode 3.
Okay. So when they throw him in the brig and there's that guy under the blanket.
Yeah.
For some reason, when that happened, I was like, oh yeah, right. Because the alternate version of him is dead, is what I was thinking. And then the guy under the blanket was a radioactive werewolf. And I was like, oh, okay, no.
Who could have seen that coming?
Right. Yeah.
So, Nick, you had no idea that this was coming, right? When you were watching
Which part? The alternate.
The
alternate.
Yeah.
No, it was a total surprise.
Yeah, I'm curious as to like how you reacted to it, because like I always knew that this was the alternate universe one, like going into it, but I'm interested to see like how, like what you thought about it.
I'll be very honest. So Cassandra and Scott both, I don't want to say hyped it up, but they both told me that like Inferno was like crazy. Oh, Inferno's insane. It's so entertaining. And up to this point, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of like, all right. I mean, that dude really doesn't want to listen to anyone about anything.
Insane.
Yeah. And then like I knew it was a good, maybe in retrospect, it was actually a smart move to put a radioactive werewolf like at the very beginning to kind of let people know like, hey, this isn't gonna, because the whole time I was like, but there's a werewolf, like, this can't just be about drilling. And then of course, yeah, and then when they journeyed to the alternate dimension, I was like, oh, it took me a little bit to, because it's the past, or I'm not that familiar with it yet, but it did take me like a minute to be like, oh crap, that actually is the actor that's playing Brigadier, because he does look different. Like
he doesn't have his mustache.
He doesn't have his mustache, and he has an eye patch.
Right.
Yeah, I just like how unabashedly bleak this subplot is. Like it. Well, he gets there, and they are just as uninterested, even no, they're more uninterested. He has less people listening to him than in the original timeline. And yeah, but yeah, I love that. I love Evil Liz. I love her weird like Linda Belcher hair.
Evil Benton is really scary. Like surprisingly scary. He's very violent and like ready to kill anybody at any given moment.
And Slocum's like almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
That'd be great if he was super agreeable and very friendly.
That would be weird.
He's like the only one.
Yeah, like but in this universe, it's like in this universe, I'm actually very nice.
I do like the fact that in the alternate universe they made Petra like not his assistant, but like his like co-founder or whatever. Like she was a doctor.
Yes and no.
Ish.
Well, no, I just mean, I like that in theory. However, what I don't like is that it's happening in the evil universe.
Yeah.
Where everything's wrong and twisted.
Right.
I guess I didn't think about it in that way.
Me neither until just now.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Scott. Jeez.
Sorry. Sorry, just got to keep you people woke.
Let me enjoy things.
Why's it gotta be history?
Yeah, so I love everything about this. And then the end when like the chaos is happening and the doctor's just crawling around on the floor.
Yeah.
Like trying to rewire stuff and evil Benton is just like, should I take you out back or shoot you here? Because I mean that's the thing is they've decided that the doctor they're gonna kill him.
Sure.
Take him to the firing range and put him down because they would rather do that than just deal with having him there. And no one wants to kill him more than Evil Benton because Evil Benton is apparently just a complete psychopath.
Yeah.
And just, no, I want to do it right here, right now. I don't want to wait the 5 minutes it would take to put him in front of a brick wall.
I want to kill him now.
Kill him now. They're like, this place is going to blow up. He's like, I don't care. I want to kill him now.
Yeah, no, like I just like how the show never backs down from this being an evil timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of ends with the doctor just kind of like being like, well, not every dimension can be saved and just like bailing. And like, I kind of really like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any other thoughts on episode 3 before we wrap up this week's episode?
I just hope I really hope our listeners come back for part 2 because it really does go from 0 to 60 after.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we will be back next week with part 2 of our Inferno discussion. In the meantime, make sure that you go check out our Facebook group, the Doctor's Companion listener group on Facebook. And follow all of our other podcasts. Go to duelinggenre.com. Check out all the stuff that we got going on there. And of course, at duelinggenre.com/support, you can, become a Patreon supporter. And if we hit our next goal, which we were less than $100 away from, we will do Doctor Who. We will basically do Doctor Who Minute or Dalek Minute. Where we're going to do the Doctor Who and the Dalek movie 5 minutes at a time. But the trick will be that none of us have seen the movie before, so we'll be watching it for the first time ever, 5 minutes at a time, and that'll be a Patreon exclusive podcast. So if that's something that you want to hear, go support us on Patreon and help us get that goal. So there you go.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer to that goal, and
we are.
I'm excited, but I'm also like, oh my god, another one.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's always
I think what we would do, I think, is once we hit the goal, it wouldn't immediately come out. We would just start recording, and then we would just record at our leisure, and then put it all out, in like a span of time or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, you guys are right. Like, we don't want it to be just like a hassle or a chore, but we're going to do it. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I can't imagine those episodes will be, for the fact that like the movie is from the 60s, like I can't imagine those episodes will be particularly long. I think it'll just be us being like, what is happening?
You're right.
Yeah. And I mean, I know it's going to be like super fun once we get started. It's like, it's just one of those things where you're just like, oh, but then when you're doing it, you're like, oh, well, this is amazing. And
yeah.
And we're only going to do it because it means that our listeners have like notched up their level of support, which is like an incredible and awesome thing.
Absolutely. All right, we will talk to you next week with part 2 of Inferno.